Good morning and happy blessed Friday. I was thinking about those sayings sometimes that don't make sense to me. And one being, fake it till you make it. And when I thought about it more, I came to realize that the reason why it's unsettling for me is that it essentially is a lie. I am pretending to know something that I don't. I'm not being honest or true about what it is that I am aware of or not. And I'm not who I say I am. So it's just a form of deception. I've also heard people say, treat people how they treat you. And that one hits really tough. Tough in that I usually walk on the side of treating people in the ways that I want to be treated. And think about that. Treating people the way that I want to be treated. That doesn't say or mean treat people how they respond or how they treat me. And then I thought of this question, and the question was, do you treat someone or people how you want to be treated or how they treat you? And it makes me think about the movie Mean Girls, right? And Mean Girls, if you don't know what it is, you want to look it up in reference. It's essentially it's in a high school setting, and high school is brutal. High school is brutal. I mean, you have people who treat you based off of what you're wearing, how you look, how you don't look, what people say about you, and they've never taken the time to find out themselves. And when you're new, cultures are already developed, groups, cliques, friends. And so that process is hard to enter into, particularly if you're coming in the middle of the school year or towards the end. That transition is hard. And so I took it a step further and I thought about coming into a company or an organization, and how people are treated, or at least have expressed their experiences of being treated. And the same way that in Mean Girls, that transition into high school, it could feel the same way. That cliques and groups are formed, that people build alliances and treat the new person unkindly or unfair, unjust. And when that person goes for a new position, there could be a way in which that alliance of the Mean Girls denies you that opportunity to move up or for growth because they have a particular person or a friend or family member in mind. And that isn't right. And then I work with a bunch of women of color, but talking to them, I hear old stories about their experiences, either being in the position that they're in now or when they first came through the door. And it touches my heart in a way that makes me remember, and being able to relate with them, of being treated mean or unkindly, based off of things that were either heard, unknown, or out of your control. And when I think of an out of control situation, I think of being a lighter skinned Black woman and having no control over how I was born, but being perceived in certain ways or different lights that then in turn get acted out and inflicted on me. So back to companies and organizations, there's a lot of systematic and organizational discrimination and racism, and particularly in groups of folks of color. And it plays out in ways where people aren't seen. People don't get to know you or that other person. And instead of building, there is an alliance. And the mean girl aspect is talking about each other, treating each other unkind, someone missing out on an opportunity because maybe someone else doesn't like them, not leaving room for someone to have changed or grow, and so holding on to old things, right? Like, I'm not the same person I was a year ago that I am today because I've had plenty of time to reflect, humble myself, grow in ways sometimes that are I never imagined. And so when I think about changing the culture, it involves people's ability to understand how it felt to be on the receiving end of the mean person or the mean girls. And then the next question I had is, then what happens when the person who came through the door and was on the receiving end of people being mean to them, now they're in a position of power, and maybe their title has changed, their position has changed, their salary has changed. Do they then turn around and treat people the same ways that they were treated? Or do they lead by example? And leading by example to me is so powerful. It's what parents do with their children. You want your children to be upstanding, honest, caring, kind, loving, have the ability to communicate. Well, then the brunt end of the work falls on you as the parent. And leading by example is showing them by doing it with them, encouraging them. And so I wonder if people who were unkind, or let me shift that, the person who was treated unkindly when they first came through the door, if they take the higher road, or do they now inflict the same harm, pain, and damage that was put on them when they were coming through the door? And we can't control people. We can't make someone love us, like us, respect us. But we can definitely shift the culture when we've gained the respect, the power, or position, and do something differently. Don't be the mean girl or the mean person. Be the person to make the change because you know how it feels and felt to be on both ends. Just a thought. Thank you for listening. I love you. Happy Blessed Friday.